And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Adam Sarhan in for Gary Kay, who's out today. Today is Friday, August 29th, 2025. It's the last trading day of the month. We're going to do a month in review today. We'll do a week in review. We'll also do some breakouts and some setups. That was a popular thing we did recently. And we'll give you notes from Gary directly. So we've got a lot to cover. Let's dive right in. First off, if you don't get the show in your city, it's just some housekeeping. If you don't get the show in your city, you go to GaryK.com. You can rewind, fast forward, listen on any device you want for free, 24/7, all on GaryK.com. You can also email Gary, read the rest of his morning notes, get them sent to your inbox for free. You can ask about his money management services, follow him on X, formerly known as Twitter, by just pressing the button. Or if you want more, you can join his premium service at convictionleaders.com. Once again, that's convictionleaders.com. Excellent service. He gives actionable ideas. He shows charts, gives notes in real time during market hours. He gives daily webcasts. He does weekend webcasts, shows you charts, shows you what he sees. This way, when we listen to Gary on the radio, that's one thing. That's our ears. But when we see and listen on the webcast, I really like it because I can watch what he's saying. Plus, I can hear what he's saying. All of that's available at convictionleaders.com. All right. That being said, I have notes directly from Gary. I want to make sure I cover them right at the top of the show. Here we go. Gold on the verge of an 18-week breakout, or it's breaking out of range. The ETF is GLD. Gold is one of the strongest performing markets this year, and it's getting ready to break out again. Had a huge move this year. I believe it's up somewhere in like the 25% area for the year, thereabouts. I don't know the exact number, but that's more than double the S&P. So this year, it's outperforming clearly, and it set up, moved sideways the last 7, 8, 9 weeks here, or 18 weeks, somewhere in that range, and it's getting ready to break out now. So a multi-month base. Very, very bullish action. We'll see if it can have follow-through after it breaks out and it can keep running. Ideally, that's what happens. All right. Seems like Oracle looking a little near-term toppy. Clearly, NVIDIA certainly looks a little toppy for now, short-term, and it may have to go into a range for a while to consolidate or digest the recent move it had. Gary also says banks are not budging. Baidu, Alibaba, and Baidu, you got some action there in both of those stocks, BIDU and BABA for AI chip, and it goes up more than 10%, even though their sales and earnings are decelerating with Baba. All right, let's see what else we have here. There's clipping energy, building construction, and the data centers. And then Bitcoin looks like more correcting as it's trading further below its 50-day moving average. So those are all the notes directly from Gary. You want to make sure I cover those and, on the messenger. So make sure I deliver the message. All right. That being said, let's do a month in review. Well, market's up nicely, the S&P, the NASDAQ this year. This month, you were up nicely, but we're beginning to see a little distribution show up. And for those of you that don't know, distribution is a fancy Wall Street term, which just means selling. Some of the institutions show up and they sell. That's considered a distribution day when you get heavier, the market's down, and volume is heavier than the prior session. That's it. That's a distribution day. Not the end of the world. We've had 4, 5, 6 of them in the last several weeks. Typically, when you get more than 4 or 5 or 6 in the last 2 or 3 week or 4 week period, and the market stops going up, that means the market's getting a little fatigued here, and prior corrections or pullbacks began with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 distribution days, and the market stopped going up. So doesn't mean that just because we have a high distribution day count that the rally is over. It just means, distribution showing up, might be time to play a little defense. I did some selling today, trimming a little bit, selling some stuff. All right, I'm a proactive guy. Okay, noted. Not the end of the world. The market's still NASDAQ and S&P above 50-day moving averages. You can use that as a line in the sand if you want. Good, bad. Above the 50 is good. Below it, not so good. But just a little distribution. I've noticed now a lot of maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 distribution days showing up in the NASDAQ 100, the QQQ, and that's a leading index. All right. That being said, we're only 2.5%, 3% below an all-time high. So we're in a bull market. It's really important to understand, folks, that you zoom out, look at the month in review. We gave back some of the gains for the month, but we've had a huge move. From the April low, we've been up just about every month since. Well, we've been up every month since, excuse me. It's up a lot. A little pullback here, even into the 50, even below the 50 a little bit, will be perfectly normal and healthy. They say September and October historically have been volatile months or down months. Maybe that happens again this year. I don't know. All I know is that we've had a really big move up. And all I know is what I see. Okay, we're seeing elevated distribution. Okay, I'm going to take notice as step one, make some small adjustments here and there if needed. And then if the distribution continues into next week and the week after, I'm prepared. And that, folks, is the whole name of the game. It's that preparation, right? What do they say with preparation? It's the secret magic power. Luck meets hard work and preparation prepare. Those winners prepare, and all these kind of things about the power of preparing in life, not just in markets, but in life, right? Kids want to do their homework, or they don't want to do their homework. They want to play the video games. Well, just do your homework. Prepare for that quiz or that test. My daughter had a test in school today. Did you prepare for it? Yeah. Okay, great. My son's younger. He's in 3rd grade or 4th grade now, and he had a quiz, a math test. He got 100%. He's so happy. Great. Good job, because he prepared. We did the homework every night. So that preparation in markets, same thing. I use the kid example because we can all relate to that, right? But when you prepared, actually, there's a really great line. I think it was Ben Franklin who said it's either you're failing to prepare or you're preparing to fail. Or by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So if you don't prepare, you're getting ready to fail. Like you're preparing yourself to fail. So I'm a big fan of preparing and just looking at the market and saying, okay, there's only 3 things that can happen, up, down, or sideways. I want to plan for all 3 scenarios. Okay, what happens if? What happens if? What happens if, right? We go up, we go down, or we go sideways. This way I'm prepared. And this way I can do it while I'm rational and not in the heat of the moment. Or I might miss it and it goes down a lot. Oh no, I missed it. Well, where was I? Sleeping at the wheel? Like I got to be, I've done that way too many times. No, I'm going to prepare. So that's the worst, especially as we head into the end of it's a long weekend coming up. Enjoy the weekend. It's a weekend. I always do a weekend review. I want to see where the market is this week. What happened this week? What jumped out at me this week? Look, NVIDIA is the big institutional, sweetheart of the market right now. And it went down. It reported earnings, went down a little bit. Not the end of the world. It didn't have a huge gap down, but it's dragging the rest of the market lower. And before they reported, I told you, I was like, hey, what was good for GM or GE decades ago was good for America. Then it was good for Apple, good for America. Now I said, hey, what's good for NVIDIA is good for America. It's the big institutional sweetheart of the market. And it's reflecting the economy. AI is a new disruptive force. Okay, great. NVIDIA, for the most part, makes chips for AI. Okay. Clear correlation. That's dragging the market lower a little bit. Okay, so we're seeing some distribution. Okay, not the end of the world. We're still in an uptrend. NASDAQ, S&P, both single digits below all-time highs. Very, very strong action. But little distribution. So the PCE number came out today. Said the Fed's inflation gauge wasn't the best. It's not going to stop the Fed from cutting rates, but it's one of the situations where it's like, oh, okay, we might have to. It wasn't trending lower. Fed needs inflation to come down, especially for those people that want the Fed to cut rates aggressively. Inflation really has to come down. It's just that simple, and it didn't come down a lot. It's still higher than the 2% number that the Fed wants. So, okay, they can still cut rates, but how aggressive they cut is going to be another story. What else happened this week? We had GDP come out. Mentioned that yesterday. For the month, this was a big month from economic data because it was the first time we had the jobs report come in weaker than expected, and the last 2 jobs report were revised sharply lower. Next week, we'll have the next jobs report. We'll see what happens. That's going to be big because if that's negative or if that's also revised lower, that could impact the Fed's decision and impact the economy, right? That was a big thing that happened this month. Again, doing the month in review, it's like, let me just think about it. Pause, pull back a little bit. Let's think, what happened this month? Look at the price action in the index and the stocks you own on a monthly basis. Okay, great. And let's look at the economic data and how does that impact investing? And inflation, CPI came in a little bit below expectations. PPI was higher, and the PCE is a little bit, nothing to really write home about. So inflation is still above the 2% level. Yeah, okay. We've got some leadership, we've got some breakouts, but we'll see. All right. Up next, we've got a lot more to cover. I'm Adam Sarhan. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. In case you're just joining us or missed any part of the show, you can go to GaryK.com, rewind, fast forward, listen at your convenience 24/7 on any device you want, all for free on GaryK.com. All right, so we spoke about the month in review, week in review. Market's a little bit lower. The NASDAQ 100 is still, it's about 3%, somewhere thereabouts, below an all-time high, very strong. The S&P is even stronger, around 1% below an all-time high, thereabouts. We're in a bull market. The month in review, week in review, all that. I told you about the jobs report, the inflation, this, the other, earnings, schmurnings. Guess what? At the end of the day, what matters the most is the price, in my humble opinion. And right now, near record highs. That's strong. Oh, by the way, tariffs went into effect too this month. And guess what? Markets are still up. For now. If we get more selling, more distribution, here's how I simplify it, right? It can go up, down, or sideways. I'll be prepared, and the market will probably go lower if we get some more distribution showing up. If we don't, we go sideways, be healthy to consolidate the move. Or if we break out and go up, got lots of breakouts and lots of setups. And I'll go through some of those now. So many of you like to know, most people miss breakouts. It's just a fact of markets. So I built breakouts and setups.com to help people find breakouts, help me find breakouts. It was some in-house software I built. It was really effective. Other people wanted to see it. So I said, all right, let me just do it. And I did it. It took me a while, and thankfully I was able to get it done. But it's on breakoutsandsetups.com. And I've got everything sorted by breakouts and setups. It's real simple. There's market cap. You could sort breakouts and setups by market cap, by volume, by price, and growth, value, whatever metrics. You can customize your own things. But really, it's just a simple list of stocks that are breaking out, and simple list of stocks that are setting up. And again, these are not buy recommendations. No investment advice is given. Everything is for general informational purposes only. No earnings claims are made. Check every box under the disclaimer. But, I want to help. And that's kind of why I'm doing all this, is because I know the power. One good idea could really just move the needle in a very, very big way. So let's go through some of the breakouts that were on the breakouts today. So JP Morgan, JPM, broke out today above 300. Nice breakout. Light volume today, but still breakout nonetheless. Earlier, Gary said the financials are holding up, and he's right. Yeah. Bank of America was up, broke out above $49. $49.30 was a pivot just a few days ago. It showed up on breakout and setup. Now it's all the way up to right around, it's above 50. Good move there. Citigroup showed up also, was another stock that broke out. It's just sitting near its pivot point. That's on the setups now. Or that's one stock that is setting up because it broke out and then it's trading near the pivot. So, okay, undercut, so it's near it. Let's see, Goldman Sachs, GS, what's happening there? Yeah, nothing too much, just above the 21-day, strong action there as well. All right, let's see, what else do we have? AXP showed up on the list today, American Express breaking out. I'd like to get more volume, but American Express, 91 EPS rating, 83 composite rating, 74 relative strength rating. Yeah, it's a good-looking candidate. I don't have anything bad to say about it or against it. It's breaking out, so it's on the list. Okay, let's see what else broke out today that I want to share. Baba, I spoke about that earlier. Alibaba from China had the AI thing, huge gap up today on monstrous volume. You have a chance to take a look at it. Average volume is 13 million shares. It's up not 1x, not 2x, several x that today. Just monster volume shows up. And that could be a beginning of a new move up. So Alibaba's breaking out to a multi-month high. It's not an all-time high breakout in BABA, but it's a breakout nonetheless. Baidu also broke out today. Not as much of a, well, no, its section looks good. BIDU is a ticker there, another Chinese stock. This is like the Chinese Google. Good volume, good action there. Money's flowing into Chinese stocks. Let's see what else shows up here. Alibaba, Baidu, Affirm, AFRM. It's another breakout from the list. Gapped up on earnings. Earnings were up 243% in the quarter ending June 30th, 2025. They earned 20 cents. The same period last year, they lost 14 cents. That's a big increase in earnings. The quarter before, earnings jumped 102%. Quarter before that, Affirm, the earnings jumped 143%. And the quarter before that, earnings jumped 46%. Stock was up big. It's up big. It was up bigger in the morning, had almost 100. Well, it did hit 100, and then pulled back a little bit because of the markets pulling back. But outside of that, really just a strong breakout on earnings. Next, Gary mentioned gold. I spoke about gold also. TFPM, a gold stock, mining gold, silver, gem stock, breaking out today. Broke out earlier today. 27.17 was a prior chart high. And volume on track to be above average. Let's see, above average volume, yep. 99 EPS rating, which is the highest there is. The composite rating, 99, and the relative strength rating, 92. Just a strong-looking candidate. Earnings were up 118% in the quarter ending June 30th and 25 compared to 24. You've got, let's see, earnings came in at 24 cents in 25. Let's see here. The same period last year was 11 cents. That's a gain of 118%. The quarter before that, 82%. Quarter before that, 100%. Quarter before that, 50%. So, again, gold, silver, and gold's up a lot. So what's going to happen? We don't know, but probably if gold continues to rally here, earnings will go up. It's just connecting dots. It doesn't have to, but that's more or less the case. So we're in a situation now where you're looking for these stocks. You need to find really healthy breakouts. You need to find themes, right? And catalysts, reasons to understand what's happening. Warren Buffett, in his infinite genius, one of the most successful investors ever, had a great line back in the 90s. When I started trading, I started in the mid-90s, but a few years later, we got the dot-com bubble, right? And I didn't know what was going on. I was a young whippersnapper. I'm excited, and I see these stocks going to the moon one day, and the next day it goes up 10%, another 10%. Just ginormous moves. We're in the middle of mania, like a hysteria, and a huge bubble. And Buffett famously came out and said, yeah, you know what? I don't know tech. It's not my lane, or it's not my thing. I don't know the exact words he used, but I'll use the word lane. And I'm not going to touch it. And he missed the whole dot-com boom, but he also missed the dot-com bust. So what ended up happening was he had a big, he came out ahead. Like he had a big win because, yes, he missed the dot-com boom, but he said, no, I know railroads, I know banks, I know insurance companies, I'm staying in my lane, and he bypassed that whole thing. So for me, there are times where stocks break out. I can't connect that dot. Here, precious metals, gold, I understand it. I get it. Gold miners, I get the theme. I understand it. Gold goes higher, all things being equal, these gold miners make more money because they can sell the gold they pull out of the ground for more. Great. Simple. Linear. I get it. I understand it. So that's TFPM. All right. So there's a time for now. Thank you very much for being here. Up next, we've got a lot more to cover. I'm Adam Sarhan, and this is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Adam Sarhan, in for Gary K, who's out today. In case you're just joining us or missed any part of the show, you can go to GaryK.com, pause, rewind, fast forward at your convenience. Anytime you want, 24/7. All right, so we're going through some of the breakouts, went through a bunch of them. There are more, but that's more or less the breakouts. On a day like today where the market's down and down a lot, I love finding breakouts because think of like a basketball underwater. Those are the stocks that just refuse to go down. In fact, they're showing really good relative strength because they're actually up on the day. And that, to me, is really, really good. So when you have a situation where stocks are up and the market's down, that's good. All right, for setups, I'll go through some setups now. Let me sort these by relative strength so we get some high ranked ones at the top. All right, PRCH. This guy's provides software. Porch Group is a company. The website is porch.com, porch.com. Ticker symbol is PRCH. Let's see here. The recent high was 1738. You're above the 21 day. You're above the 50. It's up on the day just a little bit. Good. They reported earnings. Earnings are up 105%. No complaints. Had a big gap up after they reported earnings a few weeks ago. And now you're sitting, at the beginning of August. Now you're sitting right below that pivot point. Next, let's buy out. Let's get rid of that guy. All right, THM. This is a lower priced gold and silver mining stock. THM, it's a small price stock. It's under $1.50, so I'm going to pass on this one. Doesn't have revenue, but I'm just showing you what shows up. Here's another one, Anglo Gold, AU. Big rally pulled into at the end of early August. Big rally, 45 up to 59 in Anglo Gold. It's a liquid gold stock. Pulled back into the 21 day, and now he's setting up again, kind of breaking out of a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 day high. That's AU. AG, First Majestic Silver. Silver's acting well too, by the way. SLV is a ticker there. It's setting up 938's a pivot, and you're at right around $9. SKE, Sakina, another gold and silver stock. Little mid-level breakout there, but 17.25 was the prior chart high. Strong action there. Let's see, what else do I have for you? Medpace is this company, MEDP, setting up nicely here. Had an explosive breakaway gap on earnings back in July 22nd. Then it went sideways for the last several weeks, and now he's edging up again. The old high was 501.30 from that big explosive day, and now you're below 500, but you're coming up towards that pivot. Again, the idea of the setups, folks, is to find these stocks as they're setting up before they cross above the pivot point. Anybody can tell you, the stock's doubled or tripled. Okay, great. But the real magic is finding these breakouts before they show up and they run, right? Because after they're up a lot, they're above the pivot point, above the max buy price, you're just chasing, buying it at the pivot point or below, so being aware of it below. So when it does cross above the pivot, you can get in. That's the whole idea of these setups, is that it tells you, oh, okay. And it filters out the weak ones too. We're showing strength. Next one, HBM. 1210 was a pivot, had a big gap up on earnings. Earnings were up 999% on the 13th of August. The high there was 1210. You're now high 11s, below 12. But you move sideways for the last few weeks, and he's setting up again. Mining company, metal, ores, copper, zinc, silver, gold, from Canada, US, and Peru. Carlyle Group, CG. This is a big private equity company. 65.97 was a pivot point. You're now in the low 60s, a few bucks, just a buck and change or $2 below there. Nice setup there for Carlyle Group. Really nice setup there. SCS, Steel Case. 1713 was a pivot point. Huge explosive breakaway gap in SCS on the 4th of August. The high there was 1713. Now you're in the high 16s, setting up nicely. You just went sideways for the last few weeks after that big explosive breakaway gap. This is a company, they make household office furniture. But the stock acted very, very well, had a huge breakaway gap. Earnings were only up 25%, but that explosive gap that day, the stock was up, I believe it was like a 50, 60% move. It was just a massive, massive move. Yeah, from 10 to 17, so it's like a 60-something% move on explosive volume. Average volume for this guy before that was somewhere in the 800,000 to a million range. That day, it had almost 21 million shares. So good, I'm going to pause here for a second. A good example, SCS is his ticker if you want to follow along at home. S as in Sam, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam. Big breakaway gap, moving sideways now the last few weeks. By the way, it broke out on volume, and not just a little bit of volume, monstrous volume. 21 million shares on average. That day, an average volume was less than 800,000 or less than a million. Just round numbers. Around 21 million shares that day. Average volume is less than a million. That shows you it's not, like Gary says, Aunt Mary and Uncle Bob doing the buying. That's big institutions piling in there. And then it goes sits sideways for the last few weeks, and now it's setting up again right below the pivot point. I want to know that. And I clicked on, breakouts and setups.com. It's boom. I just clicked on setups, and you copy the list, and I pop it in. I can paste it right into my charting service, and I'm golden. That's it. Super easy. Now, not all of them are good. Some of them, the setups aren't ideal. Here's one, UROY. I don't like it. It's an oil and gas stock also. It's too choppy for me, and they lose money. It's not my thing, so I'll pass. Again, most of these, even the breakouts, most setups, they're not for me, and that's okay. You just need one or two good ones a year, good trends a year, and you're golden. Next one that shows up, WPM, Wheaton Precious Metals. Wheaton Precious Metals. 103.81 was a recent high. You're at right around 100 now. A few bucks below the pivot. Good action there. Let's see here. What else can I show you? PBI, Pitney Bowes. P as in Peter, B as in boy, I as in island. Commercial Services Document Management Company. Setting up nicely. A little handle forming here. 1311 was a recent chart high. Little high, this little 4 or 5 day handle was 1246. You're just above 12. 95 EPS rating, which is earnings per share rating. Composite rating is 92. Relative strength rating is 89. Cup and little handle. Not really a cup, but the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Feels like a little cup and handle pattern. Rallied sharply, pulled into the 50, found support at the 50. Now he's building a little handle the last few days right above the 50. Earnings in 2023 were 34 cents. 24 was 75 cents. 25 jumping to $1.27, and next year to $1.30. So that's good growth from 34 cents to next year to $1.30. In Pitney Bowes, PBI. And by the way, the best ratings out here, when I read these ratings, the EPS rating, earnings per share of 95, the highest is 99. So it's a very strong rating. A few other ones I can share. Boeing setting up. 242.69 was a recent chart high, and you're right there. Let's see, some of these other ones. Capital One, we spoke about American Express breaking out. Capital One Financial, ticker symbol COF. 94 EPS rating, 93 composite rating. The relative rating is 86. The recent pivot point was 232.45, and you're just below 230. So you're just a few bucks below that. Nice rally, pulled into the 50, found support. Now he's coming up the right side of this little new basis forming. Again, not all of them are good. Some of them, for me, they're not what I want, but I just want to see it. And I want to see stocks that are near the pivot point. Something like EBR, for example. It's a utility stock. Not for me. Had a huge move from 671 to 847, and then fell all the way back down to the mid-sevens, and then bounced again. Now it's 827. Something like that, and it's utility, and the earnings per share rating is only 14, and they lost 3 cents in the last quarter. It's just not for me, but okay, noted, right? I want to see it and say no, then miss it and not have that opportunity to say yes. Again, most things in life, this is a good one from Buffett too, don't work, and that's okay. He talks about, and Munger talks about the circle of competence. He knows insurance stocks, he knows bank stocks, he doesn't know .com stocks, so he's not going to buy them just because everyone else is buying them. He knows his circle of competence. Same thing here. Most things are not a match for me, and that's okay. Look at any human, right? Typically, you can marry one person, maybe two or three marriages, but one person out of 1 billion, 7 billion, right? Most relationships don't work. When you're younger, that's okay. Most stocks don't become the next big, huge 10-bagger or 100-bagger. That's okay. It's like a wave. You go to the beach, you ride that wave, and then you see how it unfolds. And if it's a good wave, great. And you have a nice ride, great. If the wave doesn't work, you miss it, so be it. There's always another stock. It's like an elevator. You miss the elevator, that's okay. Another elevator's coming. You miss the bus, another bus is coming. You miss the wave, another wave is coming. Guaranteed. All right. Up next, we've got a lot more to cover. I want to thank you very much for being here. I'm Adam Sarhan. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. In case you're just joining us or missed any part of the show, you can go to GaryK.com, rewind, fast forward, listen at your convenience 24/7, anytime you want from any device. All right, so we mentioned the week in review. We did the month in review. We covered some breakouts today, covered some setups, spoke about distribution, spoke about a possible, to use Gary's words, change in complexion might be occurring with these big cap tech stocks kind of rolling over a little bit. We'll see. If the selling gets worse, we'll be prepared. If not, I want to know where are the leaders? What's setting up? What's breaking out, especially when the market's down. And I want to be on it like white on rice. Other breakouts, look at some of these big cap tech stocks, like Palantir pulling right into the 50-day moving average, trading right near that. Oftentimes that 50-day moving average acts as a magnet where you get too far above it, it pulls into it, and then it bounces off of it. That could be happening now. And if it rolls over, it does what Oracle did. ORCL is Oracle, PLTR is Palantir. Take a look at Oracle, ORCL. Had a huge move from 118 in April all the way up to 260 in July, pulled into the 50-day moving average, and then sat there for a little bit up until today, which is Friday, the 29th of August. Today, you had a big move down. Not good. And you undercut the lows from just a few days ago, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. If Palantir does that, no good. If it doesn't, and it bounces off of here and rallies, that'd be good. So again, sometimes you just have to keep it that simple. I mean, really, it's easy to get caught in your head and get caught up into a lot of the stuff. But zooming out and just keeping things really, really simple, super powerful. Super, super powerful. All right, other setups that I have for you that I can share. Let's see here, Roblox, RBLX, good action here. Had a huge move from 50 to 150, really from April up until July. Then it pulled into 112 into the 50-day moving average in August. And now you're just sitting here. The last 4 or 5 days. Breakout above that's going to be, recent areas going to be bullish. Just another setup, a good setup, right? A few other ones. Ben, Franklin Resources, ticker symbols BEN. 2607 was a recent chart high, and you're right there, right? Let's see, GL, life insurance company. Globe Life. GlobeLifeInsurance.com is the website. Offers individual life and supplemental health insurance, including juvenile and senior life coverage. Great. 144 was a good pivot point. You're right near 140 now. A breakout above 144 on volume would be real bullish. And this is a good example of a chart where if you look at GL, the ticker GL, on a daily chart, you can go back and look 133 down to 109, a base. And we spoke about this. What's resistance? Think of like a ball in a room. You throw it down the floor, it goes up to the ceiling, it hits the ceiling and then comes back down to the floor, then goes back up again. That's a base. In this case, real-time example, GL, the base from March up until July-ish was 133.76 down to 109. It moved sideways for months between that range. Then you all of a sudden in late July, you had a nice breakout above 125, which was the middle of the base, and then you really broke out above 133.76 at the end of July on the 25th. Rallied all the way up to 144. So 133 was the old high. Now, then you move sideways from 144, you pulled back to 134. Guess what? That low of 134 is above the old chart high of 133.76. So what was resistance, you moved sideways for months, you broke out above resistance, has now become support in the new base. And that's called a base on base. Why? Because that's how markets work. There's an old expression, markets take the stairs up and the elevator down. Stairs up, it's that. It goes up, moves sideways. Up, moves sideways. Ideally, support or the low of the new base is above the high of the old base. In this case, above that old 133 level. And that's what's happening so far as of now. That's a bullish base on base pattern. So if this thing breaks out again, guess what's going to happen? You're probably going to have another stair up, right? It goes up and then goes sideways, up and then goes sideways. That's how stairs work. They go up, they go sideways, up, go sideways. Same thing with markets. And that's GL, Globe Life. What else can we show you here? Brookdale Senior Living, ticker symbol BKD. Another setup from the list today from breakoutandsetups.com. Let's see here, $8 to $7. So that was a base. Currently, it's building a base over the last several, I guess, weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, about 2 months or a month and a half. since early July. Now we're going into early September. You're really moving sideways between 801 and 7, and you're currently in the high 7s. A breakout above 801 on volume would be real bullish. Simple. I mentioned last week when the Feds hinted they're going to cut rates, Bank First, the regional banks, KRE, is an ETF that tracks the small and regional banks. By the way, even today, KRE doing well. So it's important, again, the financials doing well. It's important to find these pockets of strength. At least for me, I always like to know what's leading. Where's the money? If the money's going to flow out of big cap tech, where's it going? Is it going to go into gold? Is it going to go into small caps? Is it going to these banks? That's, again, the pieces of the puzzle. Bank First, BFC, another setup. 132.59 was a recent pivot point. You're right near 130. Nice setup here for the last few months. This one had a base from April to July. 119 was the high. You broke out, went to 132. You pulled back. You undercut that 119 level. You got to 115. So this base that we're in now, even though we're back up to 130, it briefly undercut that old chart high, and that's okay. It happens. Ideally, it stays above that old chart high. 119 was the old high. The low in this base is 115. It didn't stay there very long. Buyers showed up. But I'm just giving you examples of sometimes when the base on base is clean, sometimes when it's not. L3 Harris, LHX, aerospace defense stock, 280.52. You can go a dime above there. You can go a dime above all the numbers I give you. Those chart highs. You just go a dime above it as a pivot point. You're moving sideways now, hugging that 21-day moving average. 51, almost $52 billion stock. You're at 277-ish, and the old chart high was 280-ish. All right, it's a nice setup there. Let's see, Well, W-E-L-L, it's a REIT, and I'll pass on that one. That's the idea. Another bank, give you another small bank, FHN, First Horizon, setting up nicely. 23.10 would be a pivot point there. So again, just put the pieces of the puzzle together. And if none of these things work and we roll over tomorrow, or next week, great. We know distribution's showing up. Again, preparation, folks. Preparation. We want to be prepared. Prepared to win. Markets take off and go. Great. We're ready. We've got setups. All right, everybody, that's all the time we have for today. We want to thank you very much for being here. I believe Gary will be back next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.